All right, today I'm here with my best friend in the Portals world, Mr. Nick Doelman. Nick, thank you for joining us today as part of our Power Pages, a decade's journey with friends. We're excited at Engineered Code to be celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So as part of that, we thought, hey, we'd reach out to some friends, some people we've been working with a long time, and just find out, how did their journey with Power Pages start, and what has been their experience with the product over the last 10 years or so. So thank you very much, Nick, for joining us. And why don't you just give us a brief introduction as to who you are, and most importantly, what do you do for fun?
Cool. Thanks, Nick. No, appreciate that. My name is Nick Doelman. I've been working in this industry in the Power Platform world since like the early 2000s with CRM version 1 and the whole iteration upwards. I'm currently an independent Power Platform specialist, trainer and coach. I work on projects, I deliver training, I do a lot of fun stuff. I just got off a 2-year stint at Microsoft last fall where I worked on the Power Pages documentation and was involved with the whole process of moving Power Apps portals as a Power Apps add-on to Power Pages as its own product. So it was an interesting time to be at Microsoft to live through that. And like I tell people, I now know how the sausage is made. It was a good time, but I actually prefer being out on my own doing this kind of stuff, get my hands dirty, doing real work as opposed to just documenting all the cool things that I wanted to play with as were rolling out. And for fun, I lift heavy things when I'm not doing any of this Power Platform stuff. I am a competitive powerlifter. I've represented Canada in the North Americans, Commonwealths, and last year at the World Bench Press Championships, and kind of trying to get on the team this year for the World's 3 Lift that will be in South Africa at the end of the year. So that's what I do
awesome.
for fun.
Yeah, I love following you on Facebook and seeing all the results and all the events that you're attending. That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about Power Pages, ADX Studio, Power Apps portals, Dynamics 365 portals. What's your first memory of whatever we want to call that product these days?
You know what? I think it was probably some of those accelerators that were in like the late 2000s that you could, build I know there was a product from ADX at the time, but there were some of these freebie sort of accelerators that really did have a great documentation how to set it up. You're kind of monkeying around with IIS trying to get it to talk to Dynamics CRM at the time. And it was just, I remember looking at it and going, okay, just getting a little bit frustrated and ending up just dumping it. And I think I wrote a .NET web application that talked to CRM directly. And of course it was CRM on premise, and we had it on an IIS server. So I had to kind of work with the firewalls and everything like that, and the APIs or the software development kit. And effectively, I know for this one project, I built my own portal solution from completely ground up using ASP.NET. And it worked well. But then years later, when I kind of got my head wrapped around ADX Studio and portals and everything, I was like, wow, that project I probably could have done in about 3 days with the portal tool, as opposed to like the month or two it took to write it from ground up and everything. So that was just sort of my early experiences.
Awesome. So we've used a few different names. Which of the many names of the product, ADX Studio portals, Dynamics 365 portals, Power Apps portals, Power Pages, which one's your favorite?
I think I always liked the Power Apps portals because it was it kind of showed that, like, at that time we had model-driven Power Apps, we had Canvas apps, and then portals was just like, yeah, here's just another surface. Now, when they said it's going to be its own product and we're kind of taking it out from the Power Apps section, it was like, okay, well, now we're going to be back into this, people thinking Power Apps is one thing where it's 3 different things or 2 different things. I'm not against the name Power Pages. It wouldn't have been my first choice. Of course, everybody assumed it was going to be Power Portals. I mean, top to bottom. Now, I'm not exactly sure the full story there. I think there was some domain name issues along with that, even though Microsoft still doesn't own powerpages.com.
Yeah, I think there might have been some intellectual property issues there. I agree. I think Power Portals would have been great. People still call them portals. But honestly, when I first heard Power Pages, I don't know if I was a fan, but it's kind of grown on me.
Yeah, I think I might have got to lean more toward Power Sites or Power Websites.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is what it is. Like I said, I don't mind Power Pages. It makes sense. People know what it is now. It's I think sometimes you hear custom pages, which are Canvas apps, but overall, I think people know what the product is, what it does, what it's meant for. And if not, they get up to speed pretty quick.
Okay. So what's your favorite feature? Like what's your kind of go-to thing? What do you think maybe provides the most value to
me? I think the number one thing that they added just fairly recently, like we're talking about 2 or 3 years ago now, was the web API, the ability to create your own, like at that, the lists and forms and all that. That's all great. But the ability to actually have the web API there at the end of the day, if you're completely stuck, you can actually make Power Pages do anything pretty much with that web API. It'd be great if it could do like call custom actions and things. We can still do that with the Power Automate, which is funny. I was just working on, we're doing, you're involved in this too, Victor's doing that Power Pages Zero to Hero series. I volunteered to do some stuff on Power Automate, so I was actually using the Power Automate connector earlier. And yeah, it's, stuff like that. You can get around those, connector custom action things. You can do a lot. So yeah, combination web API, the Power Automate thing. Along with the web templates and everything else, you can basically take Power Pages and then still utilize all the great stuff like the authentication, the security model, table permissions, the main sort of infrastructure, but still build a purely custom website if you need to on top of that, without really having to resort to .NET like you used to. Not that .NET's bad or anything, but you can do a whole heck of a lot, really, and it comes down to that web API they've added.
Yeah, I agree. Web API is definitely like an inflection point, a big game changer for the product for sure. So what's your least favorite feature? What's the thing that if you could wave your magic wand, you wish you could change?
I would actually.
And why is it the events or marketing portal?
Well, that's not even a real Power Pages. The event, the marketing, that's something else. That's a bit of a throwaway.
I've got a meme coming up about that one for sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's the symbol one where it's like, look, everything the light touches is the beautiful world of Power Pages, and it's like, oh, what's that shadow area? That's the events portal.
Nice. Cool. I would think the thing I hate, I would say frustrates me, and I have provided this feedback. The Design Studio, yeah, it's great. You can design and build your web pages. The Design Studio needs the ability to edit web templates. You could do that in the version 1 Design Studio, but from a code point of view, but I think from a drag and drop and add elements and add components, we should be able to do that on the web template side. By doing it on the web template side, now you're building multilingual capable websites much easier in a much more controlled fashion. So there's no reason why we should be adding code to the web page in my mind. Some people might disagree with me. I'm more of build it from the web templates on up, or even just, use web templates exclusively and kind of, hide those other 2 layers. I know there's legacy stuff there, but that'd be my thing in the Design Studio. Basically do the drag and drop editing for web templates and have the ability to add content snippets to that instead of just adding text, or anytime you add a text field, automatically that gets created as a content snippet. Again, the multilingual portals just would make that whole process so much easier. So those are the kind of 2 big things. And this is feedback I have provided Microsoft. So whether or not they listen to that, we'll see. Because if they can get to a point, because there are a lot of things, like even if you look at the web templates as components, it'd be great if they were able to finish that up so you could actually take it from the component, that little bar, and add your own, start building your own web template components, and you could build out a pretty decent library of, cards and carousels and those types of things without having to resort to code, so that you could give that to your customer that has a little bit of web savvy but aren't pure hardcore developers, and they can actually maintain their site a little bit better. Plus with the whole content snippet thing, if you're adding as content snippets, then that whole translation can be managed a lot better as well. So those are the things that I would fix. If I was given the lead, I would fix the design studio and basically move that quite along and sort of the vision I see it should be in.
Okay. So there's someone, say you know someone who's going to start with their very first Power Pages project. What's that one piece of advice that you would give them?
Basically make sure you actually have a solid design and plan. Like design your web pages first before you even touch the product. I know it's sort of this nice blank canvas, like, woo, you can start dragging and dropping all of this stuff, but it just turns into a mess real fast. So I do my initial designs using Balsamiq because I like that tool. It's pretty easy. I give my customers, here's what the pages look like. And because it's Balsamiq, they know it's fake because it kind of has that hand-drawn look to it. I've been working with other projects then they've had designers using Figma. Nothing against Figma, it's a great tool, but then people see it, they're like, well, you just took a screenshot of the end of the portal, it's all done. It's like, no, it's not done. It's just a picture in Figma. So it's like, okay, but at least with Figma, you get it exactly, almost pixel perfect, exactly how you want it to look. But I think it's important to get those designs, at least the flow of the pages, where the controls are going to be. And then once you have that sort of in your mind or documented somewhere, then it's easy to start building out those pages and those forms and those components a little bit easier. And then building your website from there, and just kind of goes a lot faster. The other thing is, and just goes beyond Power Pages projects, but Power Platform projects in general, is figure out your data model first before anything. I've just seen that so many times where people have to backtrack on the data model as they're going through, and then it becomes extra tables to fix things, or intermediate tables, or this and that. It's like, if you get your data model figured out and properly with the right relationships, it is just going to make everything run so much easier to figure out security, and then so much easier to build your site on top of that. So that's sort of my advice. Figure out your data model, figure out your flow and user interface, and then go into the tool. It's kind of like, don't touch the tool and don't touch the tools until you actually have a plan.
People just want to get in there and they want to start playing with things. But
I know, and I get it, but
yeah, no, that's great advice. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. Anything you want to plug? You got some, training coming up? Do you have any events coming up? Videos, podcasts?
A whole ton of stuff. So
keep in mind that these will go out in May. So anything after May.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, first off, Power Platform Boost podcast. We publish every 2 weeks, every second Wednesday. There'll be another one coming out this coming Wednesday where we cover all the news and updates of the what's new in Power Platform, the community, beyond Power Pages, like kind of all Power Platform. I do that podcast with myself and our friend, Ulrika Akerbæk, Power Pages MVP from Norway. She's one of these amazing people that can make a Power Pages site not look like a Power Pages site. Her design skills are completely next level.
She's a wizard.
She's an absolute wizard. The way she presents as well, the way she engages people and sort of shows her passion in terms of presenting, it's amazing. So yeah, check out our podcast. And in terms of events, I guess you said this is coming out in May, so Color Cloud will have passed us. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that session. I'll also be doing some sessions in Dynamics Minds, which are the end of May. I'll be at Dynamics Con doing a session on Power Pages. At Collab Days in the Netherlands, doing a session on Power Pages there. Resco.next, which is a Resco conference, which Resco has some Power Pages stuff as well. But what I'm doing there, we can't really announce yet. There's kind of some neat stuff happening. And then also at the European Power Platform Conference, doing some sessions there. And actually, Ulrika and I are doing a session there, top 10 tips on Power Pages. So if you're going to EPPC on Brussels, definitely check that out. And we'll see what the rest of the year brings. Kind of hoping I get to Scottish Summit and Nordic Summit. Potentially Power Platform Community Summit as well. So definitely a full year of training and traveling. But I love it. This is
I see I've caught you on the 1 or 2, 3 days a year that you're actually at home. So
yeah, almost.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. I'll maybe see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks,
Yep.
thanks, Nick, and congrats on 10 years for Engineered Code. That's amazing.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nick.